Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Bad Thoughts Studio. Today, the Orange Grove 55 is joining me. We're going to be talking MCU and the verdict that came out for Jonathan Majors and what we think is going to happen next. But first, I want to introduce my buddy OG 55. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, Tones. Always a pleasure joining you on in the Bad Thought Studio. I'm looking forward to talking some Kang and some Marvel with you. And yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Orange Grove 55. We talk a lot about nerd culture, MCU, Star Wars, all that stuff, but a lot of theme park stuff mostly. So check us out at Orange Grove 55.
And I'll have all his stuff in the description below. So go ahead and find him on all social medias and follow because he's great watch, great everything you do. Amazing work, bro. Love it.
Appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Of course, man. Yeah, let's get into it. Of course, big news that came out yesterday. Jonathan Majors Marvel Studios has fired Jonathan Majors. He played Kang in a lot of movies throughout the MCU. Kind of unfortunate, the whole situation, of course. We don't want to get into details as far as the case and all that stuff, but as far as the MCU, what's your thoughts about this, and how do you think they're going to move forward as far as Kang and all that stuff?
So it's interesting, right? So they really have basically two options. They could basically continue with the Kang storyline and just recast him, or they can basically write him out and go in a different direction. A lot of rumors are saying that if they write him out, they're going to replace him with Doctor Doom, go with the Doctor Doom route. Yep. Now, for me personally, I like Doctor Doom a lot more as a character, so I wouldn't shed any tears if that's what they did. I think that'd be kind of sick if they went that route, but we'll see. I mean, we're going to talk about it, but there were some pretty major hints, though, with the name that they dropped that they're probably not going to recast, or they're going to go in a different. It seems like they're going to go in a different direction.
Yeah, and I hoped they would kind of make it known I hope they do make it known like soon what they're gonna do. We can get into the next topic, but before I do, they had to have thought of a way they're gonna go if he was guilty. Obviously he was, and the first thing they came out the first thing they did was release what was gonna happen, and Avengers: The King Dynasty is reported being referred to as Avengers 5.
Yeah,
which can go weirdly because we all know Avengers stopped at what's the last Avengers movie? Endgame. Jesus, stopped at Endgame. So I'm kind of curious on how they're going to bring the new Avengers in. Which members are going to be playing? It's just going to be to me, it's just a shit show in its own because of what the MCU's been putting out recently. So hopefully they can get everything all together and put it out. But what do you think about this Avenger 5 title?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'm not really feeling it. Like Avengers 5, I kind of wish they would have got a little more creative with it. Now, this is the permanent name, right? I mean, they're not going. This isn't like a temp thing.
No, I mean, it's reported. Allegedly, this is the title of the new movie. Instead of the Kang Dynasty, they're naming it Avengers 5. Yeah, it's not 100% sure, but that's what we're hearing.
That's what we're hearing. Yeah, I'm not like 100% sold on that. It's kind of like, I don't know, a little lazy just to throw the 5 in there. I look. I mean, I have no. My whole thing is I don't have any like real connection or like real attachment to Kang, so I'm fine if they go in that different direction. But the problem with the MCU right now, and you touched upon it, Tones, is that it's been kind of a shit show for the shows haven't been hitting, the movies haven't been hitting. So now you're gonna have Avengers 5 with what? With who? I mean, none of these characters are hitting. None of these characters are resonating. So who's gonna be in there that's gonna get anyone excited?
Yeah,
that's why I think they maybe should go the Doctor Doom route, because that would probably get people in theaters.
I love that. I love that idea. Doctor Doom is someone that everyone's known. You don't really have to pay attention to the MCU to know who Doctor Doom is. You know what I'm saying? Doctor Doom would be a perfect way to go. I mean, there's other ways they can go that people might like, but the majority of people have thought of Doctor Doom and him being the antagonist in this, and I think it would be perfect, especially because of all the shit and we have, us fans and movie watchers, we do know in the back of our head they had to make a turn in the MCU because of what happened, and we will understand if they put out a product that has Doctor Doom or some kind of antagonist in there. We will have in the back of the head, they had to have made a split second decision of how they want to go. Now, put out a product that you think we would like, and we'll fall in love with it. The MCU, like I said, it's a shit show right now. If you put out something that can kind of bring back what you guys had and what the viewers had, the investment we had in the franchise, I think they could pull it off. But as far as like know your audience, get like some kind of, how can I put this? Almost do like a survey in a way of like, hey, you see your fans talking about this and that, kind of go that route, or even ask people like, would they like this or would they not like this? You know what I'm saying?
100%. And it's kind of interesting to watch this whole thing play out, because it's kind of like, okay, so as fans, we love the cinematic universe model. Like, we fell in love with it. It was really dope for all these years with Marvel, but we're kind of seeing in real time the Achilles heel of the cinematic universe model, because you have one actor who gets himself in some hot water in his personal life, and now the future of that cinematic universe now, basically like a bomb landed on it, and now it's like, oh man, now what do we do, right? So one piece of that puzzle gets out of place, and now you have to adjust everything around it. Where without the cinematic universe model, you don't really have to do that. Like, it would just be one movie or two movies, and you're fine. You just adjust those two things. But with the cinematic universe, it's like now you have to go in there and adjust not the story for this movie, but like the next 4 or 5 movies, Yeah. So it's crazy. It's a gift and the curse, these cinematic universes, Exactly. They're fun, but they can lead to issues when you have stuff like this.
And the hard part about it all, Kang literally was in 4 or 5 different movies. He was in
Loki,
Strange, not Doctor Strange. I was gonna say Stranger Things. We were just talking about Stranger Things other, but Doctor Strange and Loki, and he played a big part in these movies. So having to recast they could do it. I do believe if they recast, they can do it. Of course, the actor has to play that part similar to how Jonathan Majors did, but at the same time, a Doctor Doom would be awesome. Like, he was such a great character.
And that's what they got to do. They got to get back to that kind of stuff. They got to get the X-Men in there. And I think when you start bringing back some of these legacy characters that people like, a proven track record of fans loving these characters, I think we're good. I think the issue right now is you have a lot of these, almost like, it feels like almost like this cast of like ancillary characters, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they're not bad characters in and of themselves, but we don't have like a Biggie. We don't have a Hulk. We don't have a Black Widow. We don't have a Captain America. We don't have these big heavy hitters in the MCU right now. It feels like a bunch of secondary characters, You bring Doctor Doom in there, or you bring Wolverine in there, that's when things start cooking again.
Oh my God, if Wolverine was in there. Golly. Now, this kind of not off topic of what we're talking about, but kind of not on the topic list we had a hand, but what's a way they can kind of talk to their audience and get their opinions on a way they can go? I know, of course, they have, the comics they can kind of, refer to, but kind of get what the audience thinks they should like put out. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah, I know what I would do, and studios actually do this, and I think it's a smart idea to kind of weather balloon it. Leak one of your ideas. Like, if you're Disney, you're Marvel, right? You're Kevin Feige. Leak one of your potential, moves to like the trades, the Hollywood trades, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, whatever, and they leak it, and then you sit back as Disney and Marvel and you watch the social media buzz. Is the buzz for that rumor positive? Is it negative? What are fans saying? And you can kind of focus group it from that. And it's just a rumor, so you're not tied down to that thing, but you get a good idea, right? Like, what people are saying about it.
Why didn't I ever think of that? That is such a great idea. That is awesome, dude. Yeah, that would be perfect. Especially the big hitters like Variety and all them that they put
Deadline.
out they put it out. They put out the idea and just kind of sit back and see what people have to say about it. Yeah, hell yeah, why not?
Why not
People
throw it out there?
people people like us will put shows out and give their opinions and sit back and watch. Great idea. That is a great idea. Um Moving on. If they do end up recasting, if Kang the Conqueror is recasted in Avengers, who do you think should replace Jonathan Majors in that role?
It's interesting. I did a live show last night on my channel, and we were talking about it for like a little bit. And I suggested John Boyega, the dude from Star Wars,
Yeah.
who played Finn, because I think he's a great actor. And then I thought it would be kind of a cool kind of redemption arc, not necessarily for him, but for like Disney, because a lot of people feel that Disney kind of wronged him with how his character was handled in Star Wars. So you bring Boyega back, you cast him as Kang, and you give you do right by him, right? So it's kind of like a make good, so to speak. But as we talked about before the show, he made it kind of clear on Twitter, like he's not into it. Like he had the donkey from Shrek shaking his head no when someone suggested that on Twitter. Now, here's the thing. Money does talk, right? So if they approach him and they're like, hey, this is a multi-movie contract and we're going to pay you, $1 bajillion to do this, like he might change his mind. So we'll see. Right now he doesn't seem interested, but if Marvel comes to him with an interesting concept and maybe enough money and what have you, maybe he will. But I think he would be fantastic for this. I can't really think of anyone else though that I could really think of that would be right for that role. Who would you put in that role if you were casting Tons?
I was looking up characters and there was a couple. It was him. It was what's his name again? I always forget.
John Boyega.
John Boyega. He was on top of my list, but John David Washington, the son of Denzel Washington.
Okay.
He's been in Tenet and The Creator. He's been in a lot of good movies, and I think he has that kind of look to him in certain movies that he can pull off Kang perfectly. And of course, his dad is just an amazing actor. He's done some good work, but I think John David Washington would be perfect for this role.
That would be dope. That would be dope. And I think also Idris Elba. He was in Hobbs and Shaw, and I think he's a fantastic actor. One of the best, actually. I think he'd be pretty good in this role. But yeah, I mean, we'll see, but that name change though, that's the thing. Avengers 5, it kind of leads us to believe that they're going to kind of write this character out, and they're kind of like, but we'll see. Maybe he won't be written out completely though. Maybe it'll just be more of a minimized role. That could be it too.
I always forget how to pronounce his name. It's the dude from Aquaman. He plays the ant. Fuck, I'm like blanking on it. Yeah, have you seen Aquaman?
Oh yeah, years ago, but yeah. What character was he?
He was the villain in Aquaman. He was the ant. He had the ant suit on.
Oh yeah, let me see the villain Aquaman. I'll check it out right now, brother. Let me see.
It's like,
was it Black Manta?
Yeah, there you go.
David Kane.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God, he would be perfect.
Yeah,
perfect for him too.
Yeah, he would be good.
He already has that. I mean, he does play, the antagonist in DCU or in Aquaman, so it might be kind of weird, I guess, if he played Kang, But you never know. He's a good actor, and I think he would fit perfect in that role as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to get into that tweet that you're talking about, because I think it's hilarious. Let me get it up here on the screen.
Yeah, he's that's fantastic, dude. Fantastic.
He's like, nope. He said no, and it kind of leads into my next question. But all this stuff surrounding Kang and what of course, Jonathan Majors doesn't have anything to do with Kang as far as like the character, but
Right.
this leads into my next question. Do you think actors are staying away from playing Kang, and if they recast,
Um,
because
n-
that's sweet?
no, I don't think necessarily, because okay, here's kind of where I stand. John Boyega is sort of like, he doesn't really love Disney right now. Like he kind of is still kind of upset with the Star Wars thing, I think, right? So he's kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, because he was also saying like he doesn't want to get involved with any of the Disney Plus shows and all that stuff. So I think he's just kind of iffy on Disney in general.
Okay.
But like I feel like with this character, like for example, Chadwick Boseman, right?
Hmm.
Like that situation, I think yes, a recast people would be very skeptical because you're filling the shoes of a legendary actor who passed away though. Like so it's like a very sensitive subject.
Oh yeah.
With this one, he got charged with like, what was it?
Domestic,
Assault.
yeah, domestic assault or something like that.
Exactly. So I think that people will be fine with that. That's like his own personal thing. But yeah, I think they'd be fine with it. But like, with Chadwick, it was a little different because he passed away. So it was a lot more sensitive of an issue. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just kind of where I stand with it though. But what about you?
Yeah, so the tweet kind of confused me just because of he was saying no, he would never want to do it, but then you bring up a great point because of his history with the whole Star Wars situation, and his not like he's pissed. I mean, of course he's pissed off at him, but he's not like resenting them.
Right.
You can kind of see why he's kind of, if they were to ask him, he'd be hesitant to do it because
Yeah.
he got screwed once, fool me once, shame on me, or shame
Right.
on you, fool me twice. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of
Exactly.
that situation.
And
But yeah,
then also it's kind of interesting too because it's like, okay, so he doesn't like how Disney handled his character in Star Wars, right? But then he would be coming into the MCU at not the greatest point in like the MCU's path. Like the MCU isn't exactly knocking it out of the park right now. So
exactly.
it might be like out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we had Finn, and now he's going to get into this other thing, and it might even be worse,
Yeah.
with the way Marvel's going lately. So I could see I could totally understand where he is hesitant on this.
Yeah. And it is kind of cool as far as the Kang character. He's been in the good parts of the MCU so far, which is pretty dope. So as far as like the bad stuff that's been putting out, Kang's character hasn't really been in that kind of light. It's just the other things that they've been putting out. So in that sense, the Kang character is in a good spot as far as people um liking that part of the MCU. The TV shows, and Love and Thunder was, it's just some of these movies that we can get into detail about, but rather not. That it hasn't been great. It hasn't been great.
Yeah.
So I think the Kane character is in a good spot, that people would want to play him, and if they do recast.
Oh,
But
100%. Because he was like the one thing, like when all these Ant-Man Quantumania reviews were coming out, when the movie was there on theaters, everyone was saying how bad that movie was. But Kang was like the one thing, the one redeeming quality in that whole movie. So it was like that character is the one thing they did right in that movie. So you're right, Tones. Like people like the character. The character itself has been handled pretty well. So it's probably savable. It's probably savable. We'll see if they go that route though.
yeah. But yeah, that being said, if they do end up recasting, I still think they can pull it off.
Yeah.
But at the other hand, if they decide to just drop it all and they do go Doctor Doom, I still think that would be a great idea as well. So they're kind of in a win-win, but at the same time, it is Disney, and we just got to see for ourselves if they could pull it off, and that's the big question that we're all looking for.
And it was interesting too how they kind of played this, right? Because they when he was charged and the accusations were out there, they didn't fire him, right? So because I think they felt like, okay, if we fire him now when he was accused of this stuff, and then the trial comes and he gets off, he's not guilty, then we completely Yeah, we upset the whole time, the whole MCU and all that for nothing because he didn't end up even doing it.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of waited, and they're like, okay, let's wait for the trial. Let's see what happens. And they dropped, I think, 2 of the charges, but I think 2 of them stuck, and that was enough for Disney. They were like, you know what, guilty. And within like an hour, the news was out there. They fired them. They had everything ready to go.
Yeah. And you kind of have to give it up to Disney in this sense, because you are innocent until proven guilty, and they kind of waited to see what was going to happen. But in the back of their heads, they're like, okay, we got to save our ass too. So they kind of waited, which was pretty cool, because like in sports, for instance, there was a guy, he was a pitcher. He was accused of all this stuff, and the team released him. The team released him. They canceled his contract and all this stuff, or they didn't cancel his contract, but they released him from the team, and he was pretty much suspended and blackballed from the league. And once the trial was over, there was evidence that she texted pretty much he didn't do it. It was just all fabricated stuff. And now that team and the MLB, they're like sitting there with their pants down because they fucking blackballed him from the league. So he got the shit end of the stick, even though he was innocent. It was kind of cool to see, like, hey, if he's guilty, we'll release him and fire him.
Right.
If he's innocent, we could just continue like nothing happened. So
100%. It's kind of like the Johnny Depp thing, right? Like at the beginning, everyone was like, oh man, Johnny. And then as it went on, it was like, oh my God, Amber, she did what?
Exactly.
Like what? In his bed? What?
Oh man, dude, when I fucking heard that, man, I was sick to my stomach. Sick people, man.
I don't care how cute you are. You ain't doing that in my bed.
Hell no. Unless you're into that shit. You can ask George. He might be into that shit. Knowing George. Shout out George, man. We love you. We love you.
Yes.
One other thing before we get out of here, OG. You kind of have to, of course, what he did. Let him do his time, and hopefully he can become a better man. We're all human at the end of the day. Hopefully he can become a better man. Disney took their chance on, or I think it might have been for Iron Man, for Robert Downey Jr. Who was it, Disney, or was it someone else before it became Disney?
No, I think that was Disney. Yeah, that was the first Disney movie in the MCU was Iron Man 1. Yep. Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. He did what he did, and he became a better man after that, and he got a good role after it. And I think for Jonathan Majors' situation, hopefully he could become a better man after all this shit happens, and she can have some clarity as well for what happened. But I think at the end of the day, we're all human. We all need to be better people. We all need to treat people with decency, no matter what race or sex you are. So just keep that in mind, people.
100%. Well said. Well said.
But OG, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. If you could remind the people where they could find you on social media.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure coming on and talking shop with you guys. I love our the discussions that we have both in on this channel, the Bad Thoughts Studio, and on the Bad Thoughts podcast. And I want to say congratulations on 100 subs. You guys are crushing it. You guys are crushing it.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers to the next 100. We're just gonna keep rising,
Yeah,
keep rising. So sure. Yeah, congratulations. And you can find me on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, talking theme parks, MCU, Star Wars, all that good stuff. Orange Grove 55.
Guys, anything Disney, you guys have questions, please go message him and write in his comments on his YouTube. And he they do amazing work. And I personally will speak for myself. I wasn't into Disney as much as I was before I met you. A lot of this stuff is really interesting. The stuff that you cover is really interesting. And George, shout out George again. You guys do. You guys make people want to learn more about Disney, which is, I don't see anyone on YouTube doing what you guys do. So I want to congratulate you guys as well for doing amazing work.
Thank you, Jones. Appreciate that. That means a lot.
Of course, man. Yeah, guys, follow us on Bad Thoughts podcast as well. Me and the Candy Camper, we talk shop to people like OG and have amazing guests on. So go follow that. Put everything in the description below. Follow me at Tones_TV on all platforms. And yeah, leave a comment and let us know what you guys think about if they should go Doctor Doom, recast the Kang. Just let us know in the comments. All right. Hope you guys have a great night. Love y'all.